Facebook Live, what's going on? It's Ari Blue, host of Varsity Voice on the Comcast Network and the voice of the Sports Fan Base Network. Thank you for joining me for the second edition of Q&A with Ari Blue. And I want to remind everybody to please submit your questions here on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter on _SFBN and also on Twitter at Ari Blue DU. You can ask me any questions that you would like, whether it's here on Facebook or on Twitter. And again, I want to thank everybody for joining me. We have a great show for you this week on Varsity Voice. It'll be on the Comcast Network on Thursday night at 6 o'clock and 11 p.m. On the Comcast Network, and then 11:30 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. And again, we have a great show for you. Mike Samsel back with me, as always, at co-hosting with me. And we have some great matchups to talk about on Varsity Voice this week. There's a big matchup in the Philadelphia Catholic League. In fact, we bring in Aaron Ace Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer on the show this week to break down one of the top matchups of the year in the PCL, Neumann-Goretti versus Archbishop Wood. There are so many big matchups, individual matchups that we look at in that game. So feel free to ask us any questions. Ask me any questions that you would like here on Facebook Live about that particular game. We also look at a game in the Chessmont, a very interesting matchup between Downingtown West at Coatesville. Downingtown West coming off a huge win at home against their rivals, Downingtown East. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. The Central League heating up as well. Conestoga, I think, surprised everybody by beating Pencrest and Tyler Norwood. Tyler Norwood had a phenomenal game for Pencrest, but Conestoga as a team really did a great job and prevailed over Pencrest. So Conestoga has another big matchup with Lower Merion. So we'll talk about that one as well. In the Delaware Valley League, we really have maybe our second really good matchup of the year between Chester and Penwood. Penwood lost to Chester earlier in the year, and this is the chance for Penwood to get them back. That first game was at Chester, and this game is now at Penwood. And there's a couple other games as well. In Suburban 1, Abington and Cheltenham, great rivalry matchup between those two teams. So we get into all that. Plus, in addition to all the great boys basketball that we have to talk about, we have a great feature on one of the top track and field programs in the area at Wissahickon High School. And we really learn a lot about the differences between indoor track and outdoor track. Obviously, indoor track, a winter sport. We're going to learn a lot about that. And also the history of Wissahickon track. You take a look at that program, it's just so much history, and even the coaching staff there has been around for a long time. So we have a great feature on that. So obviously here on SFBN, we focus on the main sports, football and basketball, that really get most of the publicity here in the Philadelphia area and really nationwide in the high school sports world. But we love to focus on a lot of the other sports, track and field being one of them this week. We've focused on water polo in the past, field hockey, squash, tennis. We did a tennis feature earlier this year, swimming. So we really try and focus on a lot of the different sports at the high school level, not just football and basketball. Again, I want to thank you here for joining me on Facebook Live. Again, feel free to submit your questions below. We'd love to hear from you, not only your questions for me, but also maybe if there's something that you want to see on Varsity Voice or on SFBN. Obviously, in addition to Varsity Voice, we are SFBN. We do a lot of live broadcasts, and in fact, we have a really fun one coming up on Friday night from the Shipley School. It's in fact our first regular season Friends League broadcast between Germantown Friends and the Shipley School, and it's a doubleheader: girls basketball at 6:30, boys basketball at approximately 8 o'clock. It should be a lot of fun. Mike Samsel, my co-host here on Varsity Voice, will have the call for you for that one, and it's really a special night. In fact, we have a preview, in a sense, of that night on Varsity Voice coming up this week. So make sure you tune into Varsity Voice for that, and also watch those great games on our website, thesfbn.com or thesportsfanbasenetwork.com. Either way will get you to our website where you can watch all of our live broadcasts. And in addition to Friday night, we have some great games coming up on our Westchester University broadcast portal. Saturday, a big game for the Westchester Golden Rams against Mansfield. A lot of PSAC playoff implications. So we're not just high school sports on SFBN. We also cover college sports, especially PSAC basketball and Westchester University. So that's coming up on Saturday. And we, of course, as always, we always have our past broadcasts available on demand on any of our portals, whether it's our main SFBN portal, our Westchester portal, or our new Philadelphia Catholic League portal. And you can get links to all of those through our website, again, thesfbn.com. And while we're waiting for some questions to start rolling in, again, thank you for joining me here on Facebook Live. You're watching Q&A with Ari Blue, whether it's questions or suggestions on what you want us to do on SFBN or on Varsity Voice, feel free to comment below. And again, I'm on Twitter at @the_SFBN and also at Ari Blue DU. And I'm live right now, ready to take your questions. We have some great opportunities at SFBN, and people ask me all the time, how do you get involved in this industry? And you really start with internships, and we have a lot of opportunities at SFBN for interns, whether it may be being on a crew for a broadcast, helping out with the production of Varsity Voice, or helping out with our new and improved webpage to help produce content. There's a lot of opportunities. So if you're watching and you are interested in an internship with SFBN to learn more about the business and get experience, make sure you email us. Our general mailbox is thesfbn@gmail.com. Again, that's thesfbn@gmail.com. And again, there's plenty of opportunities for internships with SFBN. Also, if you like what we do on SFBN, we're always looking for new advertisers and new sponsorships. We have a lot of great companies, a lot of great supporters for SFBN. So again, inquire at thesfbn@gmail.com for more information about how to advertise and how to become a sponsor of the Sports Fan Base Network. And again, you're watching Q&A with Ari Blue, and it's only the second edition of that here on Facebook Live. So thank you very much for tuning in here on Facebook Live. And we've done some great things here with Facebook Live, and not only this session Q&A with Ari Blue, but we've done pre-game and post-game live editions live at our broadcasts. I've done one at Roman Catholic and Neumann-Goretti. That was a great game in the PCL. And also, Mike Samsel and Jack Cap did one this past Friday night for a great game in the Interact between Germantown Academy and Malvern Prep. So we have a lot of great things coming up here on Facebook Live, and a lot of new segments that we're going to be bringing along with a lot of our new segments and a lot of our talent as well. It's not just me. Obviously, Mike Samsel, a big part of it. We have a lot of great correspondents as well. We have our first question here. It is, who is going to win the Wood Neumann-Goretti game coming up? Well, I did talk about that at the top, and we're going to preview that on Varsity Voice, and you'll have to wait to hear my official predictions on Varsity Voice. That'll be on the Comcast Network again at 6 p.m. and 11 p.m. and also on Comcast Sportsnet at 11:30. So you'll have to wait to hear my official prediction watching the show, but I will tell you that this will be a phenomenal game. And there's some huge matchups. We're going to talk about that on Varsity Voice this week. You've got some great player-on-player matchups. The coach matchup is very intriguing. Who's going to guard Quade Green? We talk about that. And again, Aaron Ace Carter of the Philadelphia Inquirer joins us on Varsity Voice to break that game down. So I cannot answer that question, but it will be answered on Varsity Voice coming up on Thursday night at 6 and 11 on TCN and 11:30 on CSN. But thank you very much for the question. I do appreciate that. And again, not only am I taking your questions here on Facebook Live, but also taking your questions on Twitter. I'm live right now on Twitter on _SFBN, and also at my personal Twitter at Ari Blue DU. So thank you very much for tuning in again here on Q&A with Ari Blue. And I want to again thank everybody for joining us. And we will be back again on Tuesday at 6 p.m. We'll try and make this a regular segment, weekly segment, leading into Varsity Voice every week. Of course, Varsity Voice is Thursday, trying to have Q&A with Ari Blue every Tuesday. I want to thank everyone for tuning in, and I want to thank everyone for submitting their questions. And please feel free to continue to submit your questions on our Facebook Live posts. Thank you very much for watching, and everyone enjoy the rest of your evening.